This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, hello there. It's Jeff Cardano welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, August 23rd, 1989, it was a funny feeling and a funny thing for the LA Dodgers and the Montreal Expos playing a 22-inning game. So, the 1989 seasons were different. The Dodgers were not really as good as they were, despite the fact that they were the defending champions. So it was crazy and all that the defending World Series champions were in trouble. They had a good team. I mean, the 1988 season thing was a massive Cinderella run. Very massive. In fact, the Dodgers were not really. The Dodgers didn't seem like world beaters. All that. With the presence of another California team, the San Francisco Giants, eventually winning the NL West. Anyway, the Dodgers and the Expos would face each other on this August 23rd day. The Dodgers were not that good, even though they were defending World Series champions. And the Expos were actually in a fight for first place in the National League East. Of course, this is the season in which Montreal gambled on Mark Langston, thinking that he was the piece of the puzzle that was going to help them get to the playoffs. So they traded away 3 players. Yeah, Brian Holman, Gene Harris, not really that good. But then the big piece, Randy Johnson. It was shocking that Randy Johnson was traded. And then, Montreal got on the bad side of the trade. I mean, Randy Johnson was kind of a wild pitcher. Like, he didn't really strike out a lot of people. He was more known for his walk than hit by pitches. After all, he was 6'11". So, anyway, the Dodgers and the Expos went to 22 innings. However, this was not the only time the Dodgers went to 20-plus innings. On June 3rd, they played the Houston Astros at the Astrodome. It seemed like a quiet game. Dodgers were up 4-1, headed to the bottom of the 6th. Houston put up 3 runs in the 6th to tie the game. And then in the 22nd inning, they scored a run, which was weird that it was 4-4, and then for a long time, it was nothing. The Dodgers had to use Tim Leary, Ricky Horton, Tim Cruz, John Wetland, yeah, that guy, Jay Howe, Alejandro Pena, Mike Morgan, Oral Hershiser, who pitched 7 innings of relief in that game at the Astrodome, and then Jeff Hamilton, who was a infielder, I think. Houston used Bob Knapper, Danny Darwin, Dan Schatzer from Expo, Larry Anderson, yeah, Boston fans hate that name, Juan Augusto, Dave Smith, their closer, but they used him for a couple of, and then Jim Clancy, former Blue Jay, pitching 5 innings for the Astros that day. It was weird that, Vin Scully, I think Vin Scully did that game, because I don't know if NBC did a game. I don't think NBC did a game of the week, or did they? And Vin Scully wasn't around. Yeah, I think Vin Scully wasn't around because he was doing a game for NBC. So anyway, it was a big moment. But now you got the game, the Wednesday night game at 7:30 Eastern. That will be on TSN and SRC, or Société Radio Canada, which is basically the French version of CBC. So in front of 21,000 fans, I'm surprised that they would face each other. The Dodgers starting lineup looked like this. Leading off would be Alfredo Griffin, the shortstop, the former Blue Jay standout who won Rookie of the Year in 1979, who was traded to Oakland so that Tony Fernandez could get room on the roster. Batting second was Willie Randolph, second baseman. He was a Yankee icon. The last great second baseman for the Yankees until Alfonso Soriano came by. Chuck Nublock doesn't count. Number 3 was Lenny Harris in left field. He was more of a pinch-hitting supremo. Batting cleanup was Eddie Murray at first base. It was shocking to see Eddie Murray, leave Baltimore for the LA Dodgers just before the 88 season. And he did help them win the World Series, but Eddie Murray would find his way back to Baltimore. Oriole fans. Batting fifth was Mickey Hatcher, the right fielder. Catcher batting sixth was Mike Scioscia, who was there for all his career with the Dodgers and would become a very good manager of the Angels. Batting seventh was the third baseman Jeff Hamilton, the guy who lost that 22-inning game in Houston. Jose Gonzalez, center field, not Juan Gonzalez, Jose Gonzalez, that is his name. And pitching would be Oral Hershiser, the guy with the 50-plus inning scoreless streak from 1988. The Expos countered with their starting lineup. Dave Martinez was at center field. He's the manager of the Expos spiritual leader team, the Nationals. Second would be Larry Walker in his rookie year in playing right field. Larry Walker wasn't much of a hitter, but then he started to creep up. Batting third was the first baseman, the big cat, Andres Galarraga, who then would go on to do bigger things for Colorado. Well, I mean, their stadium is Mile High Stadium. Number four, the cleanup was Tim Raine, still with the Expos in left field. Raine, of course, had that problem with the baseball collusion. But this would not be Raine's last season. December 1990, he would leave for Chicago, the White Sox. Batting fifth was Tim Wallach at third base. One of the best Expo third basemen around. Catcher would be Mike Fitzgerald. So, yeah. Second base is Tom Foley. Shortstop Spike Owen, who a few years earlier helped Boston get to the 1986 World Series. And batting ninth was Pascal Perez. Very good pitcher. So, nothing went about it. The Expos had a runner on third base, but Tim Raine struck out swinging. So Dave Martinez was stranded on third base. The game went quite well. It went boom, bang. The Expos had a runner, Dodgers had a runner on third in the fifth inning, but Jeff Hamilton flew out to Walker and Murray was stuck. Expos had runners on the corners, but Wallach whiffed on an Oral Hershiser strikeout, leaving Larry Walker at third base. On and on it went. The first main substitution was in the eighth as Mike Scioscia was pinch ran by Bill Bean. And then they decided to pinch hit for Hershiser, despite a 0-0 score, with Mike Sharperson. Didn't work out that well. Well, with one out, Sharperson came in with runner on second and third and struck out swinging, and then Griffin lined out. So Jay Howe was moved to the pitching mound. Jay Howe, of course, known for his antics in the 88 NLCS, getting himself suspended for 3 games. Rick Dempsey was made to be catcher, but then the Expos decided to pinch hit for their starter, Pascal Perez, with Wallace Johnson. He hit a single. Then Otis Nixon, yes, he was an Expo before a Brave. He pinch ran. Man, Otis Nixon, a great speed merchant. Dave Martinez bunted Nixon to second, but unfortunately Walker and Galarraga couldn't get him past second. Tim Burke would become the pitcher now, and he got 3 outs. In the ninth, the Expos went down quickly. Then in the 10th, the runners on first and second with 2 outs when Jay Howe was pinch hit for by Dave Anderson, but he grounded out. So Alejandro Pena came into the game in the bottom of the 10th and did well. Hubie Brooks was made to pinch hit for Tim Burke. Man, surprised Hubie Brooks was on the starting lineup. But he struck out swinging, and Bryn Smith came in to be the guy. On and on it went. The Expos and Dodgers couldn't get a runner to third base. In the top of the 13th, Zane Smith became the new pitcher in a double switch that saw Tom Foley be replaced at second base by Damaso Garcia. Blue Jay fans are not too happy with him. He was a good second baseman, but he was very volatile. So Garcia would play second base. Fortunately, though, Zane would not make any mistakes. The Expos couldn't get anybody going themselves. Pena was pinch hit for in the top of the 14th by Mike Huff, Huff. And then Tim Cruz came in. Tim Cruz, unfortunately, passed away in 1993 in that boating accident at Cleveland spring training. The Expos did get somebody going to second base. Marcus Grissom. I forgot he played for the 89 Expos. I thought he played for someone else. I thought he started his Expo career like 91 or 92. But Grissom pinch hit for St. Smith and struck out. Rich Thompson was made to be pitcher now. And he easily got the Dodgers. On and on it went. However, the Expos in the bottom of the 16th had things going. Tim Raines was intentionally walked. The bases were loaded when Wallach came in and hit a fly ball to center field. But unfortunately too short. And that was terrible. Now it came up to Mike Fitzgerald, the catcher. He hit a fly ball to right field. Walker was coming around the plate. He's safe. No. The Dodgers appealed that Walker left third base before the ball was caught. You can't do that. You would have to go back to touch third base. Sadly, though, the appeal was granted and Walker was out. So that was not good. Fernando Venezuela surprisingly decided to pinch hit for Tim Cruz. The Dodgers didn't really have much on the bench, so they put Fernando to pinch hit. Oddly enough, when he was at the plate, Jose Gonzalez stole second, but then Gonzalez got caught stealing at third base, and Fernando swung and missed. Obviously, Venezuela was made to probably bunt Jose Gonzalez over. And the weird thing is, they didn't want Fernando to pitch at the bottom of the 17th, so they put John Wetland. Ironically enough, Wetland would be an Expo mainstay for a few seasons in the 90s. Bet you didn't know that. I didn't even know Wetland was a Dodger. But I think the Dodgers traded him to Cincy for somebody. I would say Eric Davis, but I'm wrong. And then the Reds traded him to the Expos for, I think, Tim Scott or something. I can't remember. John Wetland. For the life of me. I'll have to go back and take a look. So anyway, nothing happened. Dodgers got a runner to third base, Mickey Hatcher, but Jose Gonzalez grounded out. So no score. So it was Thompson versus Wetland, practically. But the Expos decided in the bottom of the 20th to pinch hit for Thompson with Rex Crime Dog Hudler. No, Rex the Wonder Dog Hudler. But he struck out. So then Dennis Martinez came in the top of the 21st, even though he was the starter. Rex Hudler would move to second base for Garcia. So, yeah. Martinez did well. The Expos had a runner on second when the Dodgers decided to intentionally walk Tim Raines to get to Wallach. But unfortunately, Raines was picked off first base by Rick Dempsey, who had a feeling. Worst of all was the fact that Dempsey led off the top of the 22nd with a home run off of Dennis Martinez. Dodgers finally score 1-0. The Expos went down quietly in the bottom of the 22nd, so that wasn't too good. So after all that, the pitching line was Orel Hershiser went 7 innings without giving a run. Jay Howell went 2. Alejandro Pena went 4. Tim Cruz went 3. But John Wetland went 6 innings and got the win. Amazing. The Expos had Pascal Perez pitch 8 innings and Tim Burke pitch 2. Bryn Smith 2 innings. Zane Smith 2 innings. Rich Thompson 6 innings. And then Dennis Martinez came in and gave up the only run of the freaking game, which is pathetic. Yeah. Yeah, Rich Thompson was a pitcher, but he was a pretty bad pitcher. 3-10 lifetime. He pitched in 85 for the Indians, and then he didn't get back to the majors until 1989 with the Expos. That kind of sucks, don't you think? Because Rich Thompson he was drafted by the Indians, and then was traded to Milwaukee. And then he got free agency March 87 with the Yankees, and then they released him a few months later. Then he signed as free agent with the Expos before being released by the Expos in July of 87, and then signed with Kansas City, and then was released by them. I thought Rich Thompson was an infielder, but that's Robbie Thompson. So yeah, John Wetland pitched for the Dodgers first. He was actually drafted by the Mets in '84, but didn't sign. So in the January '85 draft, he was picked by the Dodgers in the second round. And then the Tigers got him in the Rule 5 draft, but then the Tigers thought we don't need him, so they traded him to Los Angeles. Yep, the Dodgers traded Wetland and Tim Belcher to Cincy, November 1991 for Eric Davis. Yeah, it was Eric Davis and Kip Groves. And then December, Cincy traded Wetland with Bill Wisely to the Expos for Willie Green, Dave Martinez, and Scott Rushkin. Okay, that's who I was thinking of. But yeah. And of course, the Expos had to trade Wetland away because of the financial problems of the '94 strike to the Yankees for Fernando Ceguino, who did nothing. Of course, the Expos Dodgers game is also known for Yuppie being tossed, thanks to Lasorda complaining about his antics on the Dodger dugout, the top of the dugout. However, Yuppie was allowed to come back after a few innings, but he was only allowed to one side of the stadium. So that worked. Yeah, it's funny how Lasorda is going to be remembered for the guy who threw Yuppie out of a game. Who got Yuppie thrown out, a mascot thrown out of a game. What a dick. And oddly enough, Lasorda used to play for the Montreal Royals when they were the AAA affiliate of the Brooklyn/LA Dodgers. So yeah, so the Expos, that would be one of the catalysts for the Expos collapsing and not winning the NL East. That would be the Cubs in '89. And then, of course, they lost Langston to free agency to the Angels anyhow. So all that for nothing, as it seemed. Anyway, it was one crazy game. I'll tell you that much. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do